Welcome to Work the Left Side. It is a True Grit review episode. So that means I am joined by the dynamic duo that is Dan and Paul. Gentlemen, how are we both?
Not feeling too dynamic, to be honest, mate. I think I'm still feeling the effects of the show. I don't know about Paul.
Yeah, I'm just recovering myself. I weren't too well on Saturday, but we made our way up and I'm just about getting over it now. A couple of days at work to sweat it out and ready to go.
See, I just got pissed.
Well, this is going to be a weird one because I wasn't there. I didn't get to see the show, so I'm just going to I'm going to be taking a back seat to you two gentlemen I'm going to live vicariously through you two while you regale me with stories of joy and triumph and good versus evil and, you know, Tash Boat and all the other stuff. So yeah, mate, I'm just kind of going to sit here and I'll probably, I'll ask questions and I'll just look thoroughly entertained and big smile on my face while you talk to me about wrestling.
Well, I'll just sort of start the day from the day, the start of the day, if you don't mind, Paul, just because I was on the wrestle bus over with Nikki, Jeebus, Tony, and a few of Tony's family. A lot of fun. Met up in Leeds Station. Driver were there. Nikki was very kindly organising, where to meet the driver and got us on the bus. It was a smooth run over, all good, and then we got to the Horse and Jockey in Edinburgh. I'll be honest, I don't know about you, Paul, but I wasn't really sure what to expect. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like country pub and like a giant beer garden and all that, grass around and how it was going to look with the marquee and whatnot.
I did when I found out where the venue was, did Google Maps and then sort of had a look at the images. And I'll openly admit, I thought, where does a wrestling show fit in there? But, where you saw it as well, and it proved me wrong. It was far better than I exceeded. You're always going to expect True Grit to pull it out the bag and, it to be a good show, but it was a lot better. There's already talks of, maybe a second WrestleFest, so that kind of gives you an indication of how well received it was.
Yeah, well, the Horse and Jockey's a good little pub. You went in the main entrance, it's a decent-sized pub, and then you walked out the back when it was time for for us to be let out there, and it was essentially into the beer garden / car park that commandeered the whole space. It was a decent-sized space. I think there was about 150, 200 there.
Yeah,
maybe
it was hard to tell, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, there was people milling around and whatnot because, like I said, it's a big space. You walked out, there were the merch and the ticket taking area was just there with Stuart and Georgina, the regulars doing all of that. And then right in front of you was the marquee set up with the ring inside. I think it was Planet Wrestle's ring.
Yes,
I recognise them ropes. Yeah, it had the lower setting. But then to the left, there was an outdoor bar area. They still had the tables out in the beer garden bit, and then there was a burger van, and there was a couple of game stalls set up for the kids. There was a face painter there, people walking around on stilts, and there was a fire dancer entertainment in one of the intervals. So yeah, it was a really good vibe and a really different kind of show. Obviously, I'm not a parent. I don't have kids, but the kids seem to enjoy it. Paul, how did Thomas and Robbie like it?
Yeah, they were made up, going around all the little stalls. They loved the wrestling anyway, but to have that facility there for them as well. There was a lot of people that were in the pub that wanted to see what was going on and bought tickets, and they've been saying now that they're going to come to the Pride show. Because the pub actively, shout out to the Horse and Jockey, they actively promoted it. and there was a few tickets sold within the bar as well, and getting to talk to some of the people, first timers, to see if they fell for it as I did. And yeah, it seems that the True Grit family and community is getting bigger.
Well, I hope so. How can you not fall in love with it though? Really, it was it was the same good vibes and whatnot as every other True Grit show. There's a lot of regulars there. Me and Paul for two, and a good few other familiar faces. It was a unique setup to the show because they had 3 matches and a short interval. For people to get food, for the kids to have a go on the games, and get restocked with your drink, buy raffle tickets. Another couple of matches, then a second interval where they held the actual raffle, and then the two matches to finish the show. I thought it worked really well. The only minor, I'm not even going to say downside. It was just it was more just a technical glitch. It was a bit hard to hear Bobby Cash at times because they kept the music going.
Yeah,
inside the pub. But in fairness to them, the pub had an all wrestling playlist on.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah. So you walked in, you got your beer. We were there a bit early, waiting for it all to start and kick off, and they just had wrestling entrance themes playing and all stuff like that. So yeah, even before the show got going, it was a lot of fun. And I think we said, Nick, that on the preview show that it was a bit of a gamble doing a show like this because it is something different. I don't know of any other promotion that have tried this, at least in recent years, or if ever before. And I think it's safe to say it's been a big hit. And that's in no small part thanks to the in-ring action, which I suppose we better get to.
Yes.
First match up was the tag team title match.
Ooh.
Underpant Gnome number 2 and the Trash Man versus Misery Business. Obviously, as we said, me and you said, Nick, the regime had a lot to say before the match.
Yep.
And they came out full of arrogance, as they always do. And Alan and Joe came ready to kick the absolute shit out of them.
They did.
Which was, this is probably I'm going to say this a lot, but when you've got 4 people as talented as those 4, this match was as good as you expected it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, you had Joey Slade as well. He accompanied Sash and Brad to the ring, and he's spouting off at ringside, and straight away it was just getting the crowd in there, getting everybody warmed up, getting everybody's vocal cords going. Everybody was quite direct with what they had to say to the regime, so it was a real good, first match to kick off with. It set the tone. You had your hated heels, and you had Misery Business who were there to do what they do and what everybody wants to see, and that's just to kick the shit out the regime.
Yeah, Alan in particular. Sash was very vocal, continuing his jabs from their appearance on here. Calling him a fat dosser and all of this. And when Alan got that big tag and came in, he battered Sash. I've got a great video of Sash just like trying to run away, trying to run out under the ropes, getting dragged back, knocked down. Tries to climb over the ropes, get dragged back, knocked down. It was a lot of fun. Joey and Brad actually is a match I'd love to see as a singles match, thinking about it. Because them two, with both of them, the way they can strike and how quick they are and whatnot, that'd be one hell of a fight. Actually, do you know what? Maybe under pure grit rules, I'd love to see that'd be something different for both of them.
Yes.
I'd love to see that.
Both could do it very well as well. Because, Brad's obviously a technical wizard. And, that would suit Mr. Wade as well, kind of thing. I think, he's obviously got the chops when it comes to chain wrestling. You don't always see it. You always think of the strikes more for Joe, but the dude he can ground and pound as well, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's them kicks.
Yeah,
it's them kicks that make me wince every time. You do count sometimes on venues such as the Left Bank, as the Milford, to get that echo off the wall. but you could clearly hear the clatter when Joe Wade was kicking, and he looked great. I think he's bulking up a little bit as well. Got a bit of facial hair going on again now. He's looking really rough and ready to go, and yeah,
he's
he looks
putting on
in
a bit of
great
Nathan
shape,
Black,
more vicious than ever.
He's putting on a bit of Nathan Black.
He is, yeah, a bit of size.
Sorry, I didn't mean to set off any flashbacks there, Paul.
It's been a couple of months now. I'm over that.
Yeah, unfortunately, as good as Misery Business were, they didn't win the titles. The regime retained as. Do you know what? I can't remember the finish off the top of my head.
Joey Slade held.
That was it.
Joe Wade, or I can't remember which one, but he basically held the ankles as the pin was held in. I think it was a cheeky schoolboy, weren't it? It was a cheeky schoolboy on Joe Wade, and Joey Slade held the ankle of Alan Kay, so he couldn't get in the ring to break it.
Yeah. So yeah, a bit of shenanigans, and obviously Joey was making a nuisance of himself the whole match. One good thing to come out of that though is I think they were advertising for runners on the morning of the show. I'm not sure how much of that was filled because Bobby Cash ended up holding the tag team titles, and we got a cheeky photo together with the with the tag belts. I don't know if you've seen it, Nick. But I put it on my Insta just for a little giggle, and I think I may have pissed off a certain Mr. Brad Matthews.
I saw, yeah.
Judging from his reaction.
He's not seen mine yet because Bobby Cash's son Jonah and Thomas also got a picture with him. But yeah, I've not put it up yet.
Yeah, there was one of the games in the background. It was like a little, I don't know if it was like BB pellets or something like that. It was like a little shooting gallery where if you knock something down, you get a prize. And it was called the Blaster Zone, and we had that in the background. So I decided that's my Bobby's tag team name. Mainly because after trying to run 3 steps, I'd be blowing out my ass, and that's the only Blaster Zone that would be involved in that. It was a joke. Please don't hit me.
Genuine question: who next for the regime?
Ooh,
who do you see?
That's a question.
Hack & Slash.
It's the question I've been pondering. Who's next in line for a title shot? Who would you like to see?
I think Hack & Slash.
Hack & Slash. I think we'll get a team that have somebody like an Act 2. I can see them turning up. I think he'll bring in a few teams. I don't think it'll be anybody that's in the division at the minute. I think he'll bring in a few teams to kind of have those matches, and hopefully Act 2. I'm going to stir it up again. Hopefully Quintessential. Teams like that.
So well.
I know.
It was just because I watched the Work the Left Side with the regime, and they actually came up with a name, and I've been salivating at the idea ever since. So all is forgiven with Tom McManus. Bring back Meatwagon, the Titans of tag team. That is what I want to see. 2 beefy men slap the shit out of the regime.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd be happy with Meatwagon as well, because it'd be a weird dynamic though, because would Meatwagon sort of get a face return?
I think they would.
Yeah.
Just purely because they're not as hated as much as Sash.
That's very true.
You could literally have Lex Luthor come in and he'd get a pop over Sash.
But yeah, whoever it is, obviously, we've got all the faith in the world. They'll sort out some great matches for us, I'm sure. But yeah, that's 3 teams right there. A returning Meatwagon or a returning Act 2. Like I say, Quintessential, Hack & Slash, get them back in the mix again.
I'll go back to Crash Boat or
I was thinking, Crash Boat.
Tashboat.
We'll get on to them, won't we?
Well, yeah, I need to find out at some point how, if their debut as Tashboat was victorious or not. Obviously, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will. So we'll go to the next match, which was Alexis Falcon versus Natalie Sykes. Again, very clear who the favourite was in this match. Alexis is just such a pleasure to dislike. And wind up. I know Dave Woollin, one of the True Grit regulars, got into a little bit of verbal with her when she was on. I think it was when she was on her way out, despite the fact he was sat there wearing an Alexis Falcon t-shirt, which I think was very swiftly pointed out. But Alexis started the match with a bit heelish, not willing to engage, and sort of running away a little bit. And Natalie was just doing the Shawn Michaels. Up on the ropes, chilling out, having a good time, waiting for the match to get going. And then it actually got going. And one of the things I liked about this was the first match to go out into the beer garden itself.
Yes.
And pretty quickly, as Alexis was on the retreat and all, it's been a while since I've seen a foam finger used as a weapon in the match.
Yeah.
But Natalie went after Alexis with a foam finger, battered her with it, gave it back to the kid who bought it, or whose poke bearers had bought it. The kid just looked at us like, "This is the best thing ever."
There was a few chops given, weren't there, as well, to Alexis by kids. My Thomas managed to get a chop in, so she's added to the list now. He's chopped Lana Austin. He's chopped Nathan at Planet Wrestle. Shout out Planet Wrestle. And Alexis is now added to that list to receive a chop off Thomas.
Nice.
He's making the list of enemies, isn't he?
He is. He is.
Has he not chopped Dom as well? Or did he get to whack Dom with a kendo stick or something?
Kendo stick, yeah, in a trash can, yeah.
Yeah, I felt the wrath of that. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Nearly ripped my lugs off and scratched my glasses. Anyway, we had another really good match. Again, as you'd expect, Alexis did come out on top, as I think most of us predicted looking at this here. I think, all bar two of us, or no, three of us predicted Alexis had come out on top. But Natalie's definitely one for the future for a True Grit title shot. I think just sort of the way I see this going, I think Alexis is going to be the one to dethrone Rio.
Yeah. That's
with the
how I'm seeing it.
And whatnot, but Natalie Sykes is the next challenger along. Or the yeah, if and when ZZ comes back, I don't know what ZZ's status is at the minute as far as wrestling goes. I've not seen or heard anything.
No.
But yeah, I meant to say this at the top of the show. I'm having to kind of rely on Paul for certain details because, as I say, I ended up slightly inebriated by the by the end of the show. So.
I always like the move with Alexis Falcon, the run off the ropes, and you're waiting for that big move, and and then just stop and slap.
Yeah,
it gets me every time. But Alexis, I feel, has been a blessing in a weird sort of way to True Grit, because I massively felt a void in the women's division once Ivy had gone. And I think that Alexis is taking that role now, the mouthpiece, the complete package, that heel that really gets to the crowd. And obviously she accompanied another wrestler to the ring later on, adding to that fuel. And I'd not seen Alexis Falcon until this return, but I'm really enjoying seeing her, despite what I say to her when when I'm booing her. I am enjoying seeing her at True Grit.
Yeah.
Sorry, the dog's being nosy and looking out the window. That's why my curtain keeps going. He's like, guard dog, he hears something, a car drive past, and he's at the window. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's all right.
She's the wicked queen of Brit Rest for a reason. And I'd seen Alexis a few times before her injury, and she's come back and not missed a beat. We bigged her up on the hype show. I believe she's current and newly crowned NGW Women's Champ, which is a prestigious belt. And I can only see her going from strength to strength. As much as we like to dislike her and give her a bit of shit here and there, it's she's a fantastic wrestler, and then Natalie will get there too. It's that match is a good indicator of where the True Grit Women's Division's heading, I think.
Your good guys are only as good as the bad guys. You need people like Alexis Falcon. You need your Brady Phillips. You need those just gnarly heels. So yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I'm happy Falcon won, because I've been wrong twice now when I've said she was going to get the title. So I'm thinking third time's a charm. The next time she gets that title shot, it's gotta be the third time.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too long either, because obviously she's got Ivy's back in. She's not on the poster for the next show. I've got a feeling I know who the challenger for Rio is going to be at the Pride show.
I've got my suspicions.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Sky Smithson.
Okay,
that makes sense.
That's my prediction. Which Rio versus Sky Smithson? What a match! That's going to be a banger. Make no mistake. It was your shout, Paul.
Do you know what? I don't know whether I'm imagining this. I thought Casey Owens.
I don't think Casey's advertised.
Is she on the poster?
I don't think so.
She was there last year, so it wouldn't be a miss for her to be there this year, and that would be a cracking match as well.
Casey Owens is someone I'd love to see come back.
Yeah. I must have been dreaming it, because well, I know that they were part of the She-Wolves together, and maybe it was just my fantasy booking going wild, seeing like former She-Wolves members at the main event, but maybe I've just imagined it. That's what. Yeah.
Let's have a look. Yeah, definitely no Casey Owens.
Oh, I'm imagining it. Apologies.
Yeah, you are, mate. But I'll tell you what, though, great shout for a match.
Yeah,
I'll take that match all day long.
Apologies, I've not looked at the poster well enough.
What was the next matchup then, guys?
Well, you were saying about gnarly heels. We had one of the gnarliest. It was HT Drake versus Vucic going into the first interval.
Oh, so it wasn't the main event then, because we sort of said that this potentially could have been the main event.
We did. It wasn't. But what a match.
Yeah.
Just you look at these two on paper and you know what it's going to be. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be violent. It's going to be hard hitting. There's going to be kicks and strikes and chops and a little bit of chicanery from Drake and just good old fashioned mat wrestling. And we got it all in spades. This is a match I would love to see happen again.
Yes.
Possibly with Vucic as a champion, just saying. Or even as a number one contender match. Give me that for twice as long as they went on this show, because it just left me wanting to see more of them both together.
Yeah, and to say that it was a match that, was put together with the absence of Kemper, like I was interviewed, casually by Nikki, jobbing with Nikki, and I said something which I didn't actually mean. I said about HT Drake being underrated. That weren't really the word I was looking for. I think it was when I spoke to you after, Dan. Like, he's not underrated. He's just
underappreciated.
Almost underappreciated. Yeah, that's what I was kind of looking for, because he's so consistent and consistently good. And you can put him in any match with any opponent. You know that he would have given a great match with Kemper. He could go like with Mega Calibra in a lucha style match. He can go with Vucic in a technical match. He can literally do anything. And you said he's one of them guys that, although you sort of, I can't really think of the words, but you'd want him on your promotion.
Yeah.
He's important to be in your promotion, but he's somehow not getting the main event and that top card. But he's somebody that you need to have in your promotion to deliver that match. He's opened the curtain many a times as well. He's vital to True Grit, and that's what I meant. I meant he's kind of underappreciated, not underrated.
Underrated does work. I mean, me and Dan, we talked about this on the hype show. What we always do whenever we get a chance to talk about HT Drake, we kind of always say like underrated or underappreciated, because we can say, as I like using the word smart, but we know we've watched a lot of stuff. We kind of know enough to make sense about it, and we feel he's underappreciated. Your casual fan, he will be underrated. For just fans that go every now and again, they'll have seen him and they'll be like, yeah, the guy's good, but they won't know how good he is. So that's the underrated part.
I'd go a step further, Paul. When you say that he's an integral part of the True Grit roster, he absolutely is.
Yeah.
But Drake's an integral part of British wrestling as a whole. Without HT Drake, a promotion like North doesn't get off the ground. Without an HT Drake, a promotion like True Grit doesn't go as far as it has. Without somebody like HT Drake behind the scenes doing the ring hire and stuff like that, so much of wrestling in the northeast and the north of England doesn't happen. The guy puts, outside the ring and inside the ring, the guy puts so much graft into it, and training people as well. He is, when I say HT Drake is a cornerstone of British wrestling, I mean it in every sense.
Yeah,
he really is operating his training school, doing all the ring hires, appearing up and down the cards at promotions up and down the country. He is that good. I've seen him, and we say about the Mega Calibre match. I've said before about seeing him at Thunderstruck for North, popping out mental lucha moves that I've never seen him do anywhere else, and he just did it, and everybody sat back and just went, "Holy shit!" And these are people who've watched HT Drake for years and never seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen him play Odin at the Mythos Ragnarok shows and incorporate Norse mythology, storytelling, and wrestling, and tell the story and tell all those stories and have the matches in front, in a theatre in the York Barbican. I really can't speak highly enough of the guy. And I think it was William Regal who told a story about when he went to WCW, and I think that Arn Anderson said to him, "You're too good. You're never gonna be a consistent main eventer or champion because you're too good at making other people look good."
Yeah.
But Drake is just an invaluable person to have in any show, because nobody would bat an eyelid if he became champion. It'd just be like, yeah, he's that good.
Yeah.
And if they don't think that, then they soon will.
Yeah, because we've got the next best thing now, because if he's not got this title shot at the moment, we then saw the finish, which was a short music burst of Priscilla, which caused the distraction, and Vucic got the win, which I think we probably would have predicted anyway, given that he's got a title shot himself. You'd want to see him carry on that momentum. Maybe not in the fashion that it happened, but once the match was finished, we saw the return of Ollie Burns, not in Priscilla gimmick. Deliver one hell of a promo, and an emotional promo as well, in which he'd be saying it'd be Priscilla's last appearance for True Grit. At the
Ollie Burns it's Ollie's last year in wrestling.
Yes.
And this is going to be the next show, the Showtime. I keep forgetting the name. It's Showtime SmackDown or
Showtime Slam.
Showtime Slam.
Yeah,
is going to be Priscilla's last match at True Grit, as you say, and it's going to be against HT Drake, as we thought and hoped. That's going to be a massively emotional match, and that promo, like you say, Paul, was just goosebumps.
Yeah,
absolute goosebumps.
And I'm feeling the vibes, already jumping ahead now. We still got 60% of this show that we're on, to talk about, and I'm already at Showtime Slam feeling that emotion. Same as last year, it still remains one of my favourite events that True Grit have put on the Pride show, and that's going to be, you know, I don't swear often on here because I know that my kids watch it, but, you know, I'm going to say that's going to be a fucking emotional night. That it really is. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So
Yeah,
just to clarify, obviously Vuzic got the win. So
Yep.
I think all three of us 3 for 3 at the minute on the predictions.
I believe
Yes.
so. I've got the spreadsheet in front of me. Yeah, in fact, so currently at the minute, the only people who've dropped points, Thomas, unfortunately, got 2 wrong because he predicted Misery Business and Natalie.
With his heart.
Yeah. And Ian and Luke, Ian predicted Natalie Sykes, so he's dropped a point, and Luke predicted Natalie and Drake. Everybody else is 3 for 3 out of the 9 participants in the predictions. This was a really high scoring one, to be honest.
Yeah.
So what was after? So obviously, like you said, this was the match that took us into the first intermission. Food, drinks, games, awesome.
Police turned up. I presumed it was to get sacked for money laundering, but apparently not. I think it was just a couple of community support officers just double checking the licensing and whatnot, just to be on the safe side.
Caused no
it was all good.
interruption, did it? Yeah, we had a bit of a long, but yeah, it was no deal. Yeah,
it was all right. Coming out of the break, it was NRG versus Tashboat.
Yes.
Jake Silver in his white vest.
Yeah, Jake. He had the matching jacket as well.
He did.
And the sunglasses. Both sets of sunglasses ended up on Scott Bell's head.
Wow.
Yeah, they did.
Not quite sure why. The match started out a bit strange because it was we had a nice hair showdown. With Hamza and Jake both showing off the luscious locks. But ultimately, it was Dara Diablo that won the hearts of the crowd with his gorgeous mane of flowing hair. But I was really happy to see how Dara and Jake worked as a team. I said on the preview show that 2 vets like these two had gelled together, and you had Dara sort of being the more powerhouse, Jake being the quicker and doing a bit of as much high flying as possible with a marquee that low. Really fun unit with Dara and Jake. NRG were being NRG, entertaining to watch, even if they were a bit more narky than we used to seeing them.
Yeah.
One thing that sticks out to me was Dara hit an absolutely grim shotgun drop kick. And when I say that, I mean it looked like it proper hurt. I'm sure it didn't, because everybody's I'm sure it was safe and all that, but just see somebody going like full pelt like Bron Breakker, and you think, how didn't that just murder his chest?
Yeah. No, it was a good match. It was a good opposition for each other. I like to see NRG. They're doing really well. They've gone on to Future Shock as well now. They're doing shows there. They've made the debut there. I know a couple of months ago they've been over in France. I've seen them at Planet. So, they're really getting on a roll now, and they're going up, aren't they? And they deserve it. They're doing really good matches. Not come out with a win yet, but very credible opponents. And
subtly putting himself over there. Paul's totally putting himself over there. They've not had a win yet.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Of course you
did. Great opponents, though. Great opponents. Yeah, they've had great opponents.
Yeah. Only faced the very best.
Yeah, Wes did it all. Am I allowed to say his name? Yeah, he had a true great show. Yeah, no, it was fun. It really was fun. I loved seeing the working together of Dara. It's good to see Dara back as well. He has had a little bit of time away, and it was good to see him back. It was fun to see him back, and some people would have come to True Grit for the first time and actually thought that they were weekly, they're always teaming together, that they're a sort of well-established tag team, which, obviously to us, we know that they're not. But yeah, it was a good match. It was.
Yeah, I'd
I'm
happily see
guessing
Tashboat versus
Tashboat won though.
Yes. Yeah, Tashboat came out
That
with
kind of goes against my whole established tag team thing. But make no mistake, obviously, yeah, Jake and Dara have known each other for freaking pretty much probably a decade. They can work as a well-oiled machine, even if they're not an established team. So we'll let it slide.
I think some people forget just how long Dara Diablo's been around and just how much of a veteran he is and just how good he is. Because, Dara was one of the faces that built NGW, because they were like the first UK promotion that I ever went to. And he was there, along with some others who I shan't go into any names because I can't quite remember who's muckied the ticket and who hasn't. Yeah, all right. No, Nick, stop it. But yeah, I bloody love Dara. I'd love to see more of him, but you can only get so many matches on a card. You can only get so many wrestlers on a card. But Dara's a former #1 contender in True Grit. He waited years for his shot during COVID. I won't be against him and Jake teaming more often. I wouldn't be against Jack coming back and having Crashboat and Dara in a 3-on-3 against the Regime.
Yeah, I think that.
The Crash and Tash connection.
Yeah. Well, Dara, we've seen him with a tag team partner before, haven't we, at True Grit? Jimmy McKildrey.
Mr. McKildrey.
Yeah.
The Wild Dogs, was it?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, they took on NRG, didn't they, in NRG's debut?
Yeah.
Which they lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to keep running that. But yeah, again, really fun match. It was actually, I just realised that it was tag team matches kicking off the first 2/3 of the show, which was quite good. But again, 2 really fun matches. Next up was one of the big ones. Quite literally, one of the biggest competitors in True Grit, debuting David Grant, taking on the Regime's young boy, the apprentice, the footstool, Joey Slade.
Yeah.
This was interesting. This was a lot of fun. Right at the start, David got on the mic and he's talking about, how Joey's been an embarrassment and it's all a load of bullshit that he's trying to, his regime here and Hellbound everywhere else. It was a bit of a you're in or you're out sort of vibe to the whole promo.
Yeah.
And then David challenged him effectively to a street fight.
So he is the bruiserweight champion at Kumite, so he does know what he's doing.
He does. This was one that went everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was great to see Joey get the shit kicked out of him. Particular highlight, and it's on. I did a little Jeebus-esque reel where I got a great clip of Joey sort of clinging onto the ropes, and David kept bringing him back up just to batter him back and giving him the old seesaw routine.
Yeah. Wibbly wobbly weeble before David get back up.
Yeah, that was mint. Joey actually came out. He had a green and black long coat on that I've never seen before. He did look like somebody had put a young Gunter in the wash and shrunk him down a little bit. I don't mean that as a bad thing either, because it was a really nice coat. It looked good with his gear and all that.
Yeah.
And comparing someone to Gunter is never a disservice.
And he came out on his own, which surprised me.
Yeah, fairness to Joey, he came out on his own, although JC / Brad Matthews, they were sat around at the merch bit with JC had the dogs with him as well. He had the Regime hounds with him. They were sat there. I think I sort of semi-drunkenly got a video of Joey getting battered, then panned around to the Regime and just said, look at him, just sat there, dickheads.
Yeah.
But this one, like I say, went all over. Joey got very familiar with the ring bell.
Yes.
Point because David popped it on his head and dong.
There was also the carnival store, wasn't there? You know, the old-fashioned whack the hammer and the sort of meter that hits the bell at the top. And I don't think he got it first attempt, but second attempt he hit the bell.
Yep.
Using Joey's head.
Ding. Yeah. Joey then rolled out of that and he went to the little shooting gallery and he got one of the guns to.
Yeah, I think it was Aaron cork, wasn't it? Was it like a little piece of cork?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. It was a good fun match, though. And then we saw a trash can as well, didn't we?
Yeah, and a beer keg.
And a beer keg.
Yeah,
which unfortunately was the downfall for David Grant after a cheeky drop toe hold by Joey Slade. David Grant managed to get knocked out on the keg, and that's what gave Joey the win, wasn't it?
Yeah, Joey came out on top as four out of the 9 of us predicted, myself included. I'm just saying I haven't got one wrong yet on this show.
I went the wrong way on this one.
Yeah, Thomas, yourself, Paul, Ian, and Luke all picked David Grant, and I can see why. I got to have a very brief chat with David after, and sound bloke. So in my head now, I just need David Grant versus Tim Strange.
Oh.
Just two big meaty men slapping meat. And obviously Tim Strange has got his issues with Hellbound elsewhere. So I'd be very happy to see that come to True Grit.
And there was an announcement, wasn't there, that followed from David Grant as Joey made his exit with the regime.
Yeah, Alton Thorne.
Yeah.
Alton Thorne is coming to York on the 9th of August, I think it is. He's going to be taking on Joey. I can't believe I'm saying this. In my old school, in the assembly hall, it's going to be Alton Thorne versus Joey Slade in a death match.
Yeah, baby.
Now, yeah. I have my suspicions on this. Again, we don't know anything that JC's got in mind. We don't know anything this is all speculation. I can't see it being a proper death match. Because as we know, full-on death matches are blood, broken glass, fire, and some properly gnarly shit. Staple guns. I've seen darts thrown at people. I've seen syringes used. It's, weed whackers, streamers plugged in and zapped into someone's chest. Sorry, Nick, you saying?
Well, if you want to find out more about death matches, go look at Deathmatch Wrestling for Dummies. There's 5 or 6 episodes with myself or Mr. Radu and Mr. Radu Bulat, and we address, what is deathmatch wrestling.
Yeah, the art of deathmatch wrestling, might add, because I do love me some deathmatch. But a lot of the True Grit audience is children. We get a lot of families in, and I can't see it being a full-blown death match in my head, and what I'm secretly really hoping for, because I think it'd be brilliant to see Alton in something like this. I want family-friendly death match too.
Yay! I'm wondering if that might be an Ivy added stipulation.
Well, this is it, because Ivy wasn't there, obviously.
No,
JC was, but he didn't interfere. He didn't overstep anything. He didn't make his presence too much known, didn't JC? But nor did Bobby, really. He was quite reserved.
No.
But yeah, I think it might be family-friendly death match too.
Yeah.
The first one was brilliant.
Party poppers everywhere.
Yeah. Plastic swords and inflatable hammers and the lot of. In fact, I've even seen Big Effin' Joe and Alex Cologne, two highly regarded deathmatch wrestlers. They had a family-friendly deathmatch in Leeds. So it can be done. Nick, I think you're thinking it'll be maybe a hardcore match that sort of takes it to the line, because we have had hardcore matches in York before, obviously.
Yeah, my source of reference is, I'll send it to you before we hit record, Dan, I'll say it to everybody watching, after you finish watching this video, go to Infamous YouTube channel. I can't remember the name of the show. It's probably the 4th or the 5th one down. Cage Match is your friend. Go look. But there is an Alton Thorne versus Isaac North title match that happened at Infamous, and Infamous is a family show as well. You know, there's kids there, so obviously, but Alton and Isaac just literally, I'll send it to you, Dan. They walked that line. They literally were just on the edge of the line between a sort of a hardcore match at a family show and a death match. You know, one more move or one more thing, it would have been a death match. And they managed to toe that line so well, and it was because it was two experienced guys that were doing it. They knew just when to pull it in. They knew when to sort of give you that little bit more, but they knew when just to that little bit of restraint. And yeah, I think, you know, obviously Joey's, as daft it sounds saying it of a 19-year-old, Joey's a freaking veteran. He's been around for like 9 years. And obviously Alton knows what he's doing. He was one half of the match that I'm talking about. So I think Alton and Joey could, if it's not a family friendly one, like you said, which I would be hyped for, because that would be a lot of fun. But if they do want to kind of go down the brutality, I can't say, if they just want to fuck each other up, brutality, yeah. If they want to fuck each other up as much as they can do, you know, that is, apologies, that's as far, you know, they will take it to the very edge for it to be acceptable, and they will absolutely smash it.
Yeah, because like I said, I referenced before, there's been promotions who've made the mistake of putting on a full-blown death match on what was advertised as a family-friendly show. And let's have it right. Everybody involved with True Grit isn't that dumb. It's just not going to happen. Like I said, everybody's just too sensible. So yeah, can't wait to see how that pans out.
What's next?
Next up was the Pride Championship. I think did we have the second interval after that match? I think we did, where we had the raffle and a chance to get another, you know, get something to eat and whatnot.
I think we may have had one more. Oh no,
so 3 matches, 2 matches. You said it before. 3 matches, intermission, 2 matches, intermission. So it was a 7-match card, wasn't it? As always.
Yeah, as always.
So 3, 2, 2.
So the next up was the Pride title.
Yeah,
Adam Bolt versus Supersonic Sammy Blue. We didn't get the Super Brat at this show, and we thought, Nick, that Sammy was going to step up, and step up he did. This was a great showing for Sammy. Absolutely brilliant showing. Everything was. It was almost like a cruiserweight title match with these two. Yeah. Everything was quick, sharp, incisive. I think is kind of the word. There was some really like crisp counters, and it's everything Sammy was doing looked like it had a bit of extra mustard on it. Adam had Jackie T as well, who was the usual. You know, we know what to expect from those two by now. Bit of extra for the champ, extra perk from the regime. Adam had one of the fire dancers for his entrance. They did have,
which was a cool visual. It was a cool visual.
They did have the little pyro shooters as well.
Yep.
Didn't quite work in the daylight. Don't get me wrong. I think on a professional camera, you know, with the proper shutter speed and all the rest of it in the right angles, it'll probably look really good in the stills and maybe on video as well. But when you're just trying to take photos as a fan, it didn't quite come out because it's an amateur on a phone. Yeah, exactly. I got a very unflattering photo actually just before the match of when it was been announced of Adam appearing to get rather intimate with his title, tongue out the lot. But I did show him that, and he was like, "Ah, fuck it, why not?" It's it's not going to not get out there. But yeah, as I say, these two just really, it was something of a breakout match, I think, for Sammy, wasn't it, Paul?
It was, yeah. Like I wrote it down. Like I've tried coming a little bit more prepared than I normally do, and I think that was Sammy's best performance at True Grit that he's had so far. The like opponent. Obviously, Adam Bolt, everybody knows how talented he is in all promotions and everything. And he brought the best out of Sammy Blue. And it was a good match. Like, again, it was one of them that unfortunately, because of the storyline, third time going for it, Tony Wright at the next show, it's kind of unfortunate that we were always going to know which way this was going to go. But there were some spots in there. For instance, there was a hairspray that Jackie T tried throwing to Mr. Bolt. And in a struggle, Sammy actually managed to get it in Adam Bolt's eyes and hit a move on him. And it was one of them where you thought he may actually do it. Obviously, it was only a 2 count, but we did get them moments. We were treated to them moments. Sammy, who wasn't completely destroyed or he didn't look out of place, he wasn't squashed. He put up a credible fight. And I really, really enjoyed it. The more that I see Sammy Blue, the more that I like him. Shouting out Planet again not long ago. Saw him as a super brat, and his heel work was great as well. So yeah, it's nice seeing that he's becoming more of a consistent figure in the True Grit regime, and we're also, I believe, I'm hoping that I'm right on this one. I think he's on the Showtime Slam poster.
Yes,
Am I looking at the right one this time? Yeah. So
Yes,
we're gonna see him again, which will be nice, which will be good.
Yeah, I've got a feeling Sammy might be in the Pride Rumble, if there is one, because we've already got 3 matches announced for Showtime Slam, and looking at the poster, I think it's going to be 1, 2. I think it's going to be 5 matches in the Rumble.
We've got 4 matches announced, don't we?
Adam Bolt, Tony Wright.
Yep.
Priscilla versus Drake.
Yep.
Commander Sterling versus Kid Bandit.
Yeah, and Gen 1 versus Act 2, isn't it?
Oh shit! Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I completely forgot about the tag match. I'm crap at my job. Oh yeah, fair enough. Okay, there's still enough people on there to have the Pride Rumble as well. If they have anybody unannounced, unadvertised for the Rumble as well, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's like say, if they've had 4 matches announced, if Rio is going to have a match, that could be the 5th match.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking as well. There's Rio and Sky Smithson on the poster, who I think are going to be the title match, the other title match, and then there's also Shea Monet and Jason Joshua.
Yeah.
So that's just my thinking anyway. We're fantasy booking again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going to say on Adam Bolt as well. Adam Bolt's another one who I think a lot of people aren't maybe aware of just how long he's been around to become a proper veteran and really has taken, paid his dues. I mean, he's put in the hard yards and really hit his stride and found his niche as this type of performer and this type of wrestler and character. So just props to Adam Bolt, because he's come so far and he's just so bloody good.
Yeah. That's it with like Adam Bolt, although there's a lot of assistance from Jackie T and shenanigans to keep that title. He looks bloody good with that title. He composes himself as a champion. He is a good champion.
See what I did there. Main event time.
Yeah.
The main event for the women's title, Rio defending against the returning Lily Winter. Now, I was pretty well oiled by this point.
I think a few were.
Yeah. To the point
so was Tony, I think.
Yeah.
Two.
Oh, God. We won't elaborate on that. If you know, you know. So, yeah. I was just watching. I was watching this match. I was enthralled by it. I didn't take any pictures or videos beyond the entrances because I was just so engrossed. But I'll be honest, I was quite pissed, and I can't remember the details. I remember who won, obviously.
Yeah,
and I know that Alexis Falcon made a presence felt. after winning earlier in the night, she accompanied Lily Winter and made a nuisance of herself.
Yeah, to the point that she got kicked out in the end. Yeah, she was kicked out by referee. But
yeah,
that was again another strong match, worthy of being the main event.
Definitely.
It's so good seeing so much of Rio at the moment. You know, we don't know how long we've got afford, do we? You know, let's be honest. But you know, I'm enjoying every second. Sorry?
We keep saying that every show, don't we? You know, we don't know how long we're going to have Rio for.
Yeah.
I was saying to you when I've done, I was saying to you that, you know, she can just pretty much look at British wrestling and be like, yeah, mate, completed it.
Yeah.
Completed
it. But this was a typical banger match because the True Grit don't do mediocre matches, let alone bad matches.
And Rio doesn't have a bad match.
Yeah, exactly. And Lily's just a really good heel in her own right.
Yeah, she's champion, isn't she, elsewhere? Or she was former champion? Is she women's champion at Future Shock?
No.
Or former?
I don't know. I don't
I think
she don't fuck around though, does she? She is a champion somewhere, credible opponent.
Two F-bombs in one show from Paul.
I know, yes. F-bombs. Yeah. No, she don't mess around, Lily. I've only seen her twice. First one was against Melissa Face, you know, the debut. I like that little alliance with Alexis Falcon. Yeah, maybe a tag team. Maybe first opponent for Lally. When we see Lally, maybe an opponent for them. The Snow Queen and the Ice Queen. Sorry, the Wicked Queen, the Ice Queen.
Good shout.
I was trying to make a pun name, but I got nothing.
Yeah. But it was a good showing for Lily as well. Nice little return. This is something that we've spoke about before when we were saying you have Rio. You know, we did have Alexis getting these title shots, but you know, who else have we got? You know, that's going to be challenging, incredibly challenging Rio for the title. And, you know, we got a strong showing and, you know, a tough defense for Rio, especially with the odds stats against her at ringside. But yeah, it was, I enjoyed the match. It was a good match.
Yeah. And like you say, it's good to have these strong showings from other wrestlers, you know, outside of Alexis, because Rio and Alexis for me are the top two, and we were saying a little while back that we want to see the women's division develop, and you've got Holly Barlow and Lana Austin who are in their own thing at the minute. Melissa Face has been knocking around. Lily Winter's come back, and it is just starting to take shape now with Natalie Sykes as well. We all name dropped before, and like you said, Nick, Zizi at some point, hopefully.
Yeah.
Zizi comes back and makes a presence felt again. But yeah, all shaping up really nicely. Rio gets the win, sends everybody home happy. We hopped on the wrestle, but me, Tony, Jeebus, and Nikki, etc., all hopped on the wrestle bus, got back to Leeds, and a good day was had by all. I think there was more than a few people a little bit sunburnt. Man settled down quite quickly, thankfully. I think even JC said he was feeling a bit of it after spending all day outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, good. Beers, burgers, sunshine, and wrestling. What more?
And there was a slight little whisper as well on the microphone, not loud enough for JC to hear, but that a former tag team champions that no longer are working for True Grit may be actually getting their promotion on the go. MVPW.
A venue is being procured.
It is happening.
Mustache Wrestling.
Yeah.
Nashboat Pro Wrestling.
Nashboat Pro Wrestling.
Nashboat, that's it, sorry. Oh, yeah. Sponsored by Mustache Productions. That's it.
Yes.
Like
yeah. It wasn't said enough, loud enough for JC to hear, but yeah, it was. It's happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't even imagine how that's going to work out or just play.
It's going to be chaos.
Yeah, especially if
the
there's
raffles. The raffle's going to be 35 minutes long.
Yeah.
There's going to be 100. There's going to be 37 winners for one prize.
There'll be no wrestling. It'll just be arm wrestling matches or stuff.
Family-friendly death matches.
every match is going to be a rubber duck on a pole match.
Yeah.
Some was, yeah.
Oh, that's reminded me actually when you said a rubber duck on a pole match. I had a bit of thought into where this regime and Joey Slade and Hellbound was leading to, and I had an idea was if it was going in the direction of Hellbound against the regime for the custody of Joey Slade.
Joey on a pole.
Joey on a pole match.
Joey on a pole.
Whoever gets him down can use him as a weapon. Again.
He's already a weapon. Need to make use of that shark cage again.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's in a few pieces, isn't it, after Vusic and Brady?
Oh, yeah. Oh, what they could do is the 4 of the regime and Hellbound get to add in a mystery partner.
Ooh, I wonder who that could be.
Anybody, if they could bring in anybody.
Anybody. If they could bring in anybody.
Hellbound and Wesley and Serico.
Yes.
Or am I thinking too much into that? Is that too much?
I know, yeah.
JC would never allow it, would he? Let's be fair.
No.
Well. But yeah, great show. Really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was very different, but it was the same True Grit vibes, same good times, just with extra burgers and games. And what I really like when shows start in the afternoon and finish in the early evening. So you get home in decent time. It's not. I sound proper old when I say that, but I prefer a day session nowadays.
Get home, get my slippers on,
get curtains drawn, get big lights off. No, but I do. But I used to go to Progress in Manchester, and it was a Sunday afternoon. Started at 4, finished at 7. On the train for 8:30, back home for 9. This Last Planet one was great. You know, starting at what was it, 2?
Yeah,
done by 5:30. All sorted. It's great. It was something different. I'd love to see this become a yearly fixture for True Grit.
Yeah.
Do it once a summer.
My only thing was we were very lucky with the weather. I don't know how that would have, what would have happened if there was rain. I'm sure that there was a contingency plan or, something. We were blessed that we did get the weather for it.
The marquee was there, which covered the vast majority of people. I'd have been fine.
Yeah, because not all seats were took, were there? A lot of people didn't actually sit in the seats under the marquee. They like in that bit of space in the beer garden and taking in the surroundings because of the weather. So I suppose if the weather did take a change, we could have all got in that marquee.
Yeah, potentially. It worked. It worked out, and that's the main thing.
Worked.
If you get a bit of rain, then fair enough. But I think at the time of year they've done it and everything around it, everything just aligned and it worked really well. And
to be fair, those under the marquee got wetter anyway when HC Drake came out. So you're not bleeding safe anywhere, are you?
No, you're not. No. But yeah, and I spoke to a couple of people and to Jake as well, and I even said, if WrestleFest takes off and becomes bigger and whatnot, it'd be ace to have like a double header, to have a Planet show start maybe a little bit earlier in the afternoon. So if it was, a 12 o'clock start, something like that, do like 12 till 2 Planet, have a bit of a break, then say at like 3 o'clock start a True Grit show, something like that.
Ooh.
But that's looking way into the future and very much logistically different to what's done, to what was done this weekend.
Good shout though. That would definitely be a very, very cool idea, very cool concept. Just a day of wrestling and and make a legitimate festival. Because that's the thing. Obviously, when people go to festivals, they go to festivals to see different bands, to see different things. You can kind of do that with wrestling, mate. That would be more awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be like. I'm now imagining like a download setup with it gets so big you've got 3 marquees
Yeah. Go over
you've
to
got
that
all the-
marquee for lucha, tag team, or death match.
yeah. Well, yeah, you could do. You could have, or you could even just have one tent and do a bit like the Collective do when around WrestleMania. You know, GCW puts on. You have a show in the morning that's more like, about 11 o'clock, something like that. That's like your Planet show that's family friendly. You have your afternoon show that's a good mix, like a True Grit or something like that, or an NGW that's family friendly, but it's got the bit of edge, bit more edge to it and whatnot. And then at night you have like a Rise show, something like that, or Kumite, or an Infamous, somebody like that who can bring the death match. But like I said, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. WrestleFest was a success for True Grit. That's the main thing. The gamble paid off. JC and the crew absolutely smashed it out of the park. The whole roster smashed it out of the park. And fingers crossed there's another one and bring on Showtime Slam.
Yes. Which I'm sure we will be talking about in a couple of weeks. So, but guys, no, thank you so much. I kind of wasn't obviously as good as being there, but I kind of feel I've got the energy. I know what's going on. I thoroughly enjoyed hearing about it all. So yeah, it's kind of quenched my thirst for a bit of True Grit action. So it'll do for
drops on Triller soon. In the
7
coming
day
days,
trial.
It's dropping on Triller, yeah.
7 day trial course.
Sign up, give it a look, and get yourselves down on the 18th.
Yes, please, definitely. But right, guys, I'm going to let you go. But my eyesight, you all know what my eyesight's like. I don't know if you put names on screen underneath or whatever. If you want to kind of give a shout out to your socials, or you just want to leave it to us to obviously tag you and everything, and me to tell everybody to go give you a follow.
Mine's on there.
Yay.
Mine's on there at Dan Griffin 21. You know where to find me. Knocking around, retweeting Work the Left Side stuff, and same on Instagram. Follow me there. Unbooking the territory for any of the sort of wrestling podcast backlog that I used to do with my mate Rob. Just come along there.
Give them a follow, Mr. Stewart.
Yep, I'm out of touch with all my socials. I don't know what they're all called now, so sorry. I'm going to take the lazy approach and let you tag me in it if you don't mind.
No, Paul Stewart Art on Twitter.
Yes, that's one of the pages. Yeah.
But yes, obviously when we upload this, when we post and we tag these gentlemen in the posts, give them a follow if you're not already. If you're watching this, I'm going to presume you already follow them anyway. But if you're a first timer and you don't know who they are, give them a follow, show some love. And as always, I'm going to thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, share, comment, all the generic stuff. And gentlemen, yes, obviously I will see you for the Showdown Slam in a couple of weeks.
Hey, you cocked it up as well. Showtime Slam.
That's what I said, isn't it? Or did I say something?
Showdown.
It's not just me.
Awesome. No, thing is, though, I knew
We're
what
going to
it
do
was
a great
earlier.
episode, aren't we? I've not looked at the poster properly. You don't know the name of it.
I knew what it was earlier when somebody else said it, but as soon as it comes to me saying it, oh, mate, my mind's gone to shit. I'm like, what the fuck was it called? Oh, I don't know.
What a trailer.
I'm looking at last year's poster. I'll probably turn up on the wrong day.
Oh God, it's getting too late. We need to get out of here, I think, don't we, boys?
And on that note, gentlemen, thank you so much. And obviously, thank you for watching. And remember, always work the left side. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.
See you later.